Wind skates over a black ocean of grass. The moon hangs low and swollen, red as a cauterized wound. A lone Mongol pony stands with its rein trailing in frost, breath steaming, eyes wide. Its rider lies nearby, half a man now, spilled open like a slit wineskin. The horse stamps once, twice, and when it tries to scream, the sound throttles into a wet bray. Because something is crouched in the grass opposite it, so near the horse can see itself reflected in amber eyes. The beast moves, not fast like an arrow, fast like a thought. A smear of darkness, a ripple of fur, a jaw of daggers. The horse finally finds its scream as the world blurs to red streaks and the moon tilts. Hoofbeats rush up, a patrol, bows half-drawn, shouted orders. The beast is already gone, leaving a fan of prints that are not quite human, not quite wolf, as if the ground itself could not decide what passed over it. A war drum begins to throb from far off. Not a call to battle. A summons Genghis Khan wants the night brought to heel, voice like gravel and winter. A name is a saddle you put on the wind. He says it to no one and to everyone, riding beneath the red moon. The great Khan is not a giant. Power is not height. Power is a gaze that turns men into instruments. Around him, tumens of horse archers, banners whispering with raven bones, shamans whose braids are threaded with teeth. The world smells of leather, sweat, frozen dung, and prophecy. Reports are laid like pelts at his stirrup. A patrol ravaged near the Kurlan, hoofprints in loops, then none. As if the herd had been lifted into the air, a scout's throat was a torn pouch. A woman found in her yurt cupped like a broken doll. Hair in the beast's claws, always the moon, always a red coin in a sky that refuses to blink. He listens. It is the one thing the world misunderstood about him. How attentively he gathers terror, he forges it. A shaman presents a lacquered bowl inside, a braid of horsehair knotted 9 times, stained black. Chino, she says, wolf spirit, old as the steppe, sharper than winter, a curse that wears a man like a hide. Its teeth remember every ancestor's hunger. He nods once, orders unfurl, not a hunt, an encirclement, fire lines. Thorn fences woven of twisted willows, stakes smeared with mare's blood. Archers behind a rampart of carcasses to confuse the scent. When the sky sends a wolf, he says, you teach it to pull the cart. Beneath the moon's blistered watching, they make the cart. They bait the dark with the wounded. A spearman with a sewn-shut shoulder groans beside a quivering firepot. You will not die, they tell him. You will become a story. He nods because he is Mongol, and because stories are how the living stay unpunished by memory. Archers mouth prayers to the eternal blue sky. Though tonight the sky is an infected wound of red. Drums tick like heartbeats. The thorn fence creaks under frost somewhere. Wolves answer each other. Real wolves, the poor cousins of what is coming. And then silence, the horse hides go still. Even the sparks rising from the fire drift as if caught in glass. Air hardens, light dims. The wounded man on the stake stops breathing not from courage, but because his lungs refuse to draw the thing closer with the sound. A shadow peels off the shadow. It moves on all fours until it doesn't. Then it does again, joints that disobey their hinges. A back that hunches into a ridge, then flattens. Its head tilts. It listens to the blood in the bait's neck like a musician to a throat-sung note. Now, whispers a general. They loose the world. Arrows go in singing. The beast moves wrong and yet perfectly. As if the arrows know they were never meant to arrive. 2 find fur, 1 finds meat. The howl is a splinter pushed under the moon's nail. The thorn fence explodes inward. Men are flung like seeds from a wet hand. The firepot turns the night into muscle and teeth. The mouth a cave with a moonlit waterfall of saliva. It is not invulnerable. In its hunger it forgets edges. It hits the staked line and tangles. A loop of iron chain snaps shut like a jaw. The beast snatches chain with its teeth and breaks a link. That should be impossible, but impossibility is here wearing fur. The Khan rides in. He has not brought a hero's spear. He has brought a net made of 66 lassos, each held by a rider. They throw together. Men scream as the force jerks horses backward. The net swallows the beast and tightens, barbs biting. It thrashes, it spins. It claws the moon out of the sky in its noise. Another line, thicker. Drag ropes to buried anchors. Down. The Khan says, not yelled, pronounced. Like weather, the werewolf meets the earth. They lash it to a lattice sled and drag it under a moon that will not stop staring. When the thing calms, it is because it is running out of blood. Close, it smells like copper and winter mint. Like hot iron left to cool in snow, its fur is wrong. Too many directions. 1,000 windroses, and beneath the pelt, the map of a man flickers and fails. Cheeks nearly form and pull apart again. A collarbone lifts like a wing and sinks back under fur. They haul it into the Khan's travelling ger, where the wall poles are carved bone and the central smoke hole shows the red haloed eye. The shaman paints 9 black circles on 9 hoops and sets them upright around the bound monster. Each circle a gate, she says, each gate a debt. She has buried sons. She does not kneel. The Khan sits. The beast stares at him like a mirror that saw too much. It shows him nothing, which is how it shows him everything. "Whose mouth are you?" he asks. Though the night had been promised no questions, the voice is ritual, not inquiry. "What empire owns your hunger?" The beast's throat works. There are shapes under its tongue. There is a name in the cartilage of its larynx. Temujin, it gurgles, choosing the Khan's childhood name, and laughs like a dog coughing up a blade. Men step backward without meaning to. The shaman's bells twitch. "Bind it," the Khan commands. Iron hoops over forelimbs that become forearms, hooks, staves pry jaws open, a spike through tongue and palate, fast, clean precision born on battlefields where mercy was a word for after. The shaman threads a horsehair through the pierced tongue and ties it to a stone drilled through its heart with prayers. The stone is black, cold as Mother Night. Each breath drags the prayer tighter. Tonight, the Khan says to his generals, we do not celebrate. Tonight we listen to how conquest breathes. The werewolf's breath rattles like windstorm reeds. Somewhere far away a pack answers that is not a pack. The empire leans its ear to the ger wall. A night later the ger is a furnace of whispers. The shaman pours fermented mare's milk into a shallow bowl, adds a splinter of iron, a shred of wolf fur, a flake of the Khan's tattered childhood blue sash, the one thing he keeps. She speaks a story of the sky wolf who came down with a woman whose womb was a winter cave, and how their child shook the dust from the world, and the dust became horses. She speaks this not to bless the beast, but to remind the sky that once it loved wolves as fathers of nations. The werewolf listens like a condemned man listens to footsteps. "Teach me the hinge of you," the Khan says, not a question. A demand shaped like a prayer. "Teach me how to turn men into this." The beast's eyes glaze and clear. It is not just a thing. It is a bridge. Across its spine walk ghosts of forests that were turned into ships, cities that were sutured with walls, fields that ate men like grass eats bones. Its mouth moves. The voice is not its own. It is a choir of throats that ever tore meat. "Bite," it says, "and make new teeth." A general, young, scar on his brow like a crescent, steps forward. He is the sort who always believes the next myth will be his to wear. "Let me be the first, my Khan," he says. Bowing so low his braid sweeps the dirt. The shaman hisses through her teeth. Curses are not bridles, they turn, they return. The Khan weighs futures like blades. He does not fear curses, he domesticated them. He turns to the general. "You will be my arrow. If you break on the target still knows it was struck." They unspike the werewolf's tongue. The thing smiles. Everyone sees too many teeth and not enough mercy. The bite is fast, almost tender. A nip at the general's wrist. For a heartbeat, nothing happens. Then the general is on the ground, and the ground is no longer where it used to be. His bones remember an older geometry. His nails scream themselves into claws. His eyes peel their lids back to see more century at once. He rises wrong and glorious. The Khan does not smile. But the idea behind his face does. "A mounted army by day," he says softly. "A four-legged army by moon." The shaman's bells shake without hands. "Every gift has a back," she murmurs. "This one has two. It spreads like winter when winter forgets to end. Not a plague, a promotion." Chosen men step into the circle and step out with night under their skin. They do not lose themselves, not immediately. They strap their armor not just to chests, but to futures. By day they ride as they always have. Arrow storms and feints. Retreat into ambush, the science of fear. By night they are the science of hunger. A city hears hoofbeats in the morning and howls at the walls by midnight. Gates that would have held against horses do not hold against creatures that go over. Arrows that would have blinded men become toothpicks in fanged mouths, spat back into torchlight. Watchmen fire oil, and the oil becomes perfume to the things that were men yesterday. It is not that they cannot be killed. Iron still declares itself. Fire rules. A spear with a true heart speaks in a language even curses over here. But there are many, and they are organized by a mind that thinks of rivers as roads and roads as ropes. The Khan does not turn into a beast. He does not need to. He stands at the hinge of this new door and holds it open, directs the wind through it. He moves flags like chess and night like ink. Men who once followed him out of awe now follow out of necessity. He is the only lighthouse in a storm of claws, yet in his jar, when the drums go to sleep and the last runner brings the last body count of the night, the werewolf watches him with a theater of eyes. Sometimes it is bound, sometimes on purpose it is not. A tether around an ankle, trust as a dare. Do you hunger for nations? The Khan says, pouring mare's milk on the dirt for ghosts, or only for the last rib you cracked. The werewolf says nothing, and that is the truest speech. Hunger is a compass that points inward, on a blood moon that fattens like a lie. The converted return from a raised stronghold faster than they left. Their fur is singed, their mouths twitch with secret music. The shaman stares long. They are not entirely ours, she tells the Khan. They are not entirely anyone's, he nods. He is used to horses that buck the hand that feeds, used to rivers that flood the fields that worship them. Control is a saddle you keep recinching. It breaks not at a fortress, not at a river crossing, not on a battlefield kissed by 1,000 hooves. It breaks at a farm, a foolish place where wheat still tries to grow beneath the boot of empire. The moon is swollen so full it looks ready to pop. The converted, his elite, run ahead to scout and to slaughter. But the farm is not a farm. The thorn hedges are not hedges. They are stakes rubbed with ashes of old wolves. The scarecrows wear iron under their rags, and the ground, oh, the ground, has been salted not with salt, but with powdered black stone from a place the shaman refuses to name. The werewolf in the Khan's gear lifts its head and smiles as if remembering a joke it told itself. The pack hits the field and the field hits back. Their paws burn. Their throats seize as if ropes were inside them. From the wheat rise figures as wrong as they are. Their cousins, perhaps, or their antidotes, men in bone helms, faces hidden, each holding a staff carved with 9 circles that never close. The Khan rides up. He sees his plan become another man's plan in reverse. Good, he says, because nothing teaches like defeat that is not finished happening. His archers send a storm. The bone helms move their staves and the storm falls crooked. Wind changes sides, horses rear and scream and run backward without moving. The shaman beside the Khan drops to one knee, drags a finger through dirt and writes a circle that is not a circle. This is old, she says, older than the steppe. Older than the names we gave wolves when we were new. The pack fights as if the field were full of glass. They break. They reform. They break again. The werewolf in the gear hums. A rumble like distant hooves. It tugs its tether. The leather creaks. The iron ring around its ankle digs into skin that is sometimes skin and sometimes theory. Let it, says the Khan. His generals turn aghast. He does not repeat himself. He draws his sword and cuts the tether. The beast goes forward like a rumor that ran out of patience. It hits the field and the field forgets what it was. The bone helms flinch, the 9 circles on their staves quiver. The beast rips one staff to splinters and the circles in the air wobble and drop like old coins. The pack regathers, feral geometry knitting. The price arrives all at once. One of the converted, young, crescent scar, first of the bitten, turns not on the enemy but toward the Khan, eyes vacant and full. He sprints. The Khan's horse tries to become a bird and fails. Steel sings as a general interposes and loses an arm and a name. The beast that was the arrow of the Khan's will opens the Khan's thigh with a swipe that writes a new map. Blood leaps. The horse stumbles. The world tilts like a bowl about to pour. The werewolf, not the converts. The original hinge stops mid-slaughter and looks back. Its head cocks. A memory crawls under its fur. A boy named Temujin. Thin as a promise, eating roots, swearing oaths to a sky that would never answer unless demanded to. Something changes. The beast is under the young wolf in a blink. Jaws closing on the convert's neck. A mercy that looks like rage. It hurls the body aside. Then stands between the Khan and everything else, with a posture that does not belong to wolves. The enemy breaks. The bone helms vanish into wheat that suddenly remembers it is only grass. The circle staves rot into broomsticks. The field exhales. The Khan lies propped on a saddle. His blood is gossiping fast into the dirt. The beast stands over him. The shaman approaches, hands lifted, bells tender. Her eyes are wet with a grief she has owed the world a long time. "Do you understand your bargain?" She whispers to the beast. The beast's ears twitch. It does not. Morning does not come like a sunrise. It comes like a negotiation. The moon withdraws sullenly, taking its red coin elsewhere. The Khan is sewn closed with horsehair and threats. He does not die, not today. Death respects schedules. The pack endures, smaller now, wiser in the way dogs learn not to drink fire. They sleep by day with twitches that belong to other centuries. By night they wear the moon's labor like a harness. The empire moves again. Walls fall. Rivers ferry soldiers whether they meant to or not. The world opens like a throat, and yet in the Gur, the werewolf and the Khan share a room like two storms forced into one valley. The shaman keeps the hoops around. 9 gates, 9 debts, but the tether is gone. The beast lies with its chin on its forepaws that are almost hands. Sometimes, when the Khan speaks of what he will do, when all the nations are beads on his string, the beast's eyes soften, the way a kettle softens when it decides to sing. "Tell me," the Khan says, not asking, declaring the need for shape, "what ends an empire of teeth?" The beast bares its mouth. It is not a smile. It is resignation reheated, hunger, it says. Not the lack, the surplus. They travel west. Stories run ahead of them with their hair on fire. In forests where every tree has eyes. In deserts where the wind whistles through old bones. In cities whose stones remember the weight of kings. They leave marks that cannot be paved over by time. The converts begin to choose when to change, then forget how to choose. One by one, they all learn the cost of a body that keeps perfecting its own weapon. A few disappear into mountain snows to spare their sons the math. The werewolf does not bite again. It hunts only on nights when the moon is fat and nobody is watching. It brings kills back to the lines like a dog bringing slippers. Deer, or once a bear that looks surprised to be there. Men begin to talk about it in the same tone they talk about winter. Harsh, yes, but ours for now. At last, there is a night out on a plain that has forgotten its own borders. The sky is not red. It is clean blue darkness jeweled with frost. The Khan steps from his chair alone and stands where the breath of horses draws smoke pictures. The werewolf pads to his side without sound. They look up. "Do you believe the sky chose me?" he asks. Not a question. An audit of the covenant he wrote with his life. The werewolf lifts its head under the fur. A man's cheek almost forms, then doesn't. "The sky chooses wolves," it says, "and the voice is 100 throats and one, and men who learn to listen like wolves." The Khan nods as if tallying a column that finally totals. He reaches not toward fur but toward the air near it, and lays his hand on a space the beast occupies. It is almost a touch. In the far distance, an owl calls. In the nearer distance, a courier breathes hard, clutching news like a hot stone. Wars never run out of mornings. Empires never run out of enemies. The world is a drum that insists on being struck. "Go," the Khan says, not to the courier, but to the beast. A permission that sounds like a leash dropped. The werewolf tilts its head. Beyond the empire, there are forests uncounted and winters unclaimed. Hunger is a compass and also a home. It steps backward once, twice. And in those steps is an apology no human tongue could carry. Then it runs, not like a thought, like a prayer, like a debt paid forward. The Khan watches until the blue dark stitches itself closed. He turns. He has men to command, cities to yoke, rivers to bully. He has a story to ride inside. But now, beneath every command is a slightly different silence. The silence of someone who has learned there are wolves you do not bridle, because to bridle them would be to unmake the wind, fade out on the steppe breathing. A wind that smells faintly of iron, milk and pine. A sky that keeps its own counsel. Hoofbeats that may be paws and a moon somewhere, polishing its red coin against the next dark, and for those who hunger for more. Step deeper into the shadows with our ultimate werewolf horror playlist, linked in the description below. In the world of horror, the scariest things happen when you least expect them, and trust me, you don't want to be left in the dark. Welcome to the darkness.